Welcome to my quick studio desk tour of 2022. Today I will go over what I'm using to record and produce my music and videos. Special thanks to Donner for sponsoring this video, more on that in a minute. In this video I'm not gonna go into the details of what guitars I use, I will make that in a separate video later. Now some of you all might notice these things and wonder what they are. Well, these are obviously not music producing tools, these are just my stick and throttle for my flight simulations. I'm just a huge nerd when it comes to flight simulators, and that's why I have these standing on my desk at all times. The first thing we're going to look at today are my brand new studio monitors. I finally got to throw out my old Logitech computer speakers and replace them with some actual studio monitors. These monitors were sent to me by Donner, and they are extremely cheap and they actually work great. Here are some of the features on these monitors. This is the backside of the active monitor. These monitors consist of one active and one passive speaker, with all the controls being on the active speaker. As you can see, you have the TRS inputs, your RCA inputs, and you even have some filtering controls to control the bass and the treble. You might want to use these controls if you find that your room is making your monitors sound too bass heavy or too treble heavy. As you can see, I have been using mine to trim a little bit of the treble. These monitors are very cheap, as I said, but these have surprised me when it comes to the quality and the sound quality. Obviously, these are not going to sound as good as $20,000 super studio monitor speakers, but these will give a nice representation of what you're mixing, and they absolutely sound good enough for my use. My philosophy has always been that I'm not going to spend all my budget on fancy studio monitors because my room will never be acoustically treated in a perfect way anyways. If I want to mix something and hear the details more accurately, I will just use my studio headphones. Either way, these monitors are really helpful for just referencing your audio on actual speakers and not just headphones all the time. I have owned more expensive studio monitors in the past and I actually like these better. The fact that there is one active and one passive speaker kind of scared me in the beginning because I was fearing that they would sound different, but it actually is a good thing because you only set the volume on one of the speakers and the other speaker will have the exact same volume. Overall, I'm really happy with these monitors, and if you want to check them out, there's links in the description and you can use the promo code MGS to get up to 20% off. The next thing we're gonna look at is my very old USB MIDI keyboard. This one I actually got from my girlfriend who's not really using it anymore, and it's just a basic keyboard. I'm not using any of the controls on it, I'm just plugging the USB straight into the computer and just using it to sample some sounds using MIDI. That's really all that I'm using it for. I can't really play the piano. This is my second computer screen. I'm using this for my VST synths whenever I'm making synths, and I'm also using it for an extra screen when I'm editing videos. When it comes to microphones, this is what you're hearing right now. This is my Rode Studio microphone. I can't even remember the model name. I've had it for a long time. Super happy with it. It's basically a cheap studio microphone. Works really well. And we can't forget these weird things. They are obviously also not studio equipment. These are just my MFD controls for my flight simulation nerdiness. A couple of years ago, I got this super ultra wide computer screen, and it's been a real lifesaver when it comes to editing projects, both when it comes to video editing and editing audio. It's really nice to have that long timeline without having to split it up to several monitors at once. Very basic and cheap keyboard and mouse. Don't really need anything special for this, it just works. All of my guitar tones still come from my good and old Fractal Audio XFX standard. This is the first XFX and it's getting really old, but it still works. It's missing a knob here and there and some of the pots are getting worn out. But the tones you get from this thing, they are just simply still amazing. I am still the limiting factor when it comes to the XFX, and I understand about 5% of the parameters you can tweak on it. The only reason I feel like I want to upgrade to a more modern XFX is just for the better user interface and more modern connection to the PC. If you want to upload tones from the PC to the Axe-Fx on this one, you have to use a MIDI cable, and that's really clunky and not too practical. But I'm still very happy with this one, and it's still providing me awesome tones and a very good tuner, in fact. I actually did a huge investment around Christmas and New Year's when it comes to lighting equipment. I invested in this studio light with a huge softbox and these really small Ulanzi RGB lights. This gives me a lot more flexibility and more professional looking light in the studio. For my audio interface, I am still using my good old Focusrite 2i4 or something like that. It's doing the job nicely, only has 2 inputs, but it's all that I need and it works really great. These are my studio headphones, Beyerdynamic 770 Pro, something like that. They have worked excellent from day one. They are getting very worn out, but they still produce some awesome audio and are still the most comfortable headphones I have ever used. And I will continue using these until they practically fall apart. Most impressive thing about this is that the cable still hasn't broken after about 13-14 years. When it comes to guitar picks, I am still using Dragon's Heart guitar picks. These are virtually indestructible. I have used the same pick for maybe like 2 or 3 years of playing and still can't see any signs of wear on it at all. They are super hard and they give a lot of flexibility to your playing. They were kind of hard to get used to, but once I get used to using them, they were amazing. And these are the only picks I'm using and I can't see myself changing to anything else. I hope you enjoyed my quick tour of my studio desk. I will be making more videos about my guitars and the other parts of my studio later. If you have any questions, just have a look in the comments. Make sure you check out Donner's store for very good and cheap both studio monitors, guitars, basses and everything. Links in the description below, and I hope you have a nice day and I'll see you in the next video.